when I'm talking about privacy, I almost purposefully don't use the word secrecy because I associate secrecy with government. And I'm actually not a big fan of government secrecy. I think governments should generally be transparent and accountable. And when they are being secretive, I think there's usually some reason for concern, or at least asking what is going on that they can't talk about, or who's in a position to know if they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. Obviously, there are circumstances where governments need secrecy. But privacy, of course, is very different. I mean, privacy is really about the rights of individuals. And you know, we've certainly pushed a lot for privacy laws to protect individuals, and simultaneously pushed against secrecy laws that make government opaque. And then you get into these very interesting situations. I mentioned the body scanners, which we are really, really trying to stop. I mean, we don't, you know, I tell people when I'm talking about privacy, it's not just a concern or worry. We actually take positions and we want an outcome. And our current campaign is to stop the deployment of the body scanners in U.S. airports. We obtained through a Freedom of Information Act request the technical specifications of the devices, right? I mean, these are devices that, you know, almost everybody may be expected to go through at some point, provide an almost complete graphic image of you undressed. And we learned some very interesting things. I mean, one, for example, is that this device, which wasn't supposed to store and record images, has a requirement, and built in is the ability to store and record images. It has various privacy settings, which seems a little creepy to me. I don't know exactly what the low privacy setting is compared with the high privacy setting. And you know, of course, who gets to change the settings. It's the super user, if you look in the access control. So that was interesting too. But here's the most interesting part of the story. You've heard a lot about the body scanners because of the December 25th incident in the plane heading to Detroit and the guy with the powdered explosives. The original contracts for the body scanners were developed in 2006. And in 2006, the technical specifications listed weapons, explosives, and liquids, but not powders, among the items that should be targeted by the device. In other words, in our view, this device, which strips people naked, the airport, wasn't even designed to identify the material that was used on December 25th that now is the basis for arguing they should be in all the airports. And I guess the point that I'm trying to make is that sometimes the individual interest in privacy and the need for government openness is actually much more tightly integrated than you realize. A lot of these systems that involve, you know, tracking and surveillance and monitoring really need to be inspected carefully to understand how they operate, will they be effective, what's their cost. And I think what you'll find is if you diminish government secrecy, you'll actually enhance personal privacy.